I tried to write a script for this, but genuinely I'm not a YouTuber and I'm not a script ass bitch, so let's just see how it goes from here. As a preface, I've been a doll customizer and seamstress professionally for probably about 6 years now. I've never made a video about my process and I don't own any recording equipment, so please feel free to roast me all you want for the quality of this video. Oh yeah, and if you're watching this, you should probably DM me. It's really important, so you should go do that now. Oh, mods and planning, one of my favorite things to do. Can you sense my sarcasm there? Honestly, I am not the best with mods or planning anything, especially when it comes to videos because I didn't even make a script for this video. Isn't that something? Aside from my exasperation, you can see on screen some of my sketches that I did. To be fair, it was like 4 in the morning and I was really out of it from working all day, but you know, here they are. This is what I came up with. A lot of these ideas did not end up done in the doll itself because I kind of gave up on them, whether that be from laziness or just, you know, lack of motivation. But, you know, some of them did, so I count that as a win. The next step into bringing your ideas to life is to choose a victim, and I chose this doll right here. I genuinely don't remember where I got this bitch. It was probably at a garage sale or a thrift store for a little of nothing. But she was the one I chose to become the tall, skinny white boy. And that's what I went with. The next part is genuinely just really satisfying to me, and that's probably for all of those years that my mom wouldn't let me chop my own Barbie doll's hair off because she said it made me look messed up and like a serial killer. But going on past that, you gotta make the bitch bald to cut off all of that hair, get rid of it. Now the next part really fueled my rage because you have to take the head off, and to do that you soak the head in hot water so you can pull it off without breaking the neck peg. I soaked the head in hot water for almost 40 seconds, which is like double what I normally do, and the neck peg still broke. So I was really pissed and I threw down the doll for like 2 days before I started working on it again. After I finally calmed down enough to pick up the doll again, I had to end up using my utility knife to cut a giant hole in the back of the head to retrieve the broken neck peg, or else it'll just sound like brain is rattling around in there, and it would drive me insane. So after I did that, I used my tweezers to rip out all of the glue where the little bits of hair were glued in so she could be completely bald, and then I used 100% acetone to wipe off the factory paint, which if I didn't look like a serial killer before, now I do. How about that, Mom? This frame offers absolutely zero substance to the video. I just wanted you to see my cat. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but the victim that I chose for this kind of has a wee little problem. And that problem is that it has giant tits, and I don't think that's presidentially accurate. The plan was to chop those suckers off, and that's exactly what I did. I grabbed my Dremel tool, and I got a sanding bit, and I just went to town, and bye-bye boobies. I can't believe I said that. Moving on to the next step, I used clay to kind of mold a new body over the holes that I had left in the chest, and I sanded it down with my Dremel tool again, and I painted it. I promise that the colors match better in real life. I don't know why my iPhone just fucks colors so bad, but... Now, even though I literally wrote down on some of my plans that the horns felt too basic because everyone literally draws ram horns or creates ram horns around him, I'm just a basic bitch and I couldn't resist because I love rams, honestly, and I wanted to create some. So I opened up that can of worms for myself. And oh, honey, what a can of worms it was. I figured out way too late that I was out of like sculpting wire, so I ended up just using a pair of pliers and a couple paper clips that I stole from my dad's desk, so let's hope he doesn't notice they're missing. Now, with just like everything else in my life, I was just wondering, why couldn't I use hot glue? I use hot glue for everything, so I started piling up a bunch of hot glue around the paper clips, and it honestly didn't look that bad. In the picture on the left, I had painted them like a brown color, but I ended up not being satisfied with that like 3 days later, so I started over and used some Mod Podge and different little techniques to get this rough, my friend called it a snaky looking texture, but it looks a lot more like horns to me, and I was more satisfied with them after that. Next was the hair, and honestly, it's something that I almost don't even want to talk about because it was so frustrating. And it wasn't even like putting together the hair itself that was frustrating, it was trying to find the right color, the right yarn I was going to use, and my cat brush went missing because you use cat brushes to brush out yarn if you didn't know, and it just was making me insane. We went to like 4 different stores. I looked online. I could not find a color I liked, so I ended up having to wait an extra week to find the color I wanted. Now, I know some of you are going to roast me because this color is very light and you're going to be like, "Oh my gosh, I thought he had brown hair." The reference picture I was using at the time was one that my friend sent me, and he was like in the sun, so his hair looked really light. So this one's hair is going to be really light and you're going to be okay with that. Now, after the whole fiasco of not being able to find yarn, I did find some. I made the wefts and I started gluing them to the head. Truthfully, I almost stopped at this point because look at that picture, like I almost wanted to start making a little woodland fairy type creature, but I had a commitment and I was gonna finish this whether anyone liked it or not. Now, it was at this point that I realized just how hard it was going to be for me to draw a face that was like acceptable and looked right. And I started to think, what if I just like made this into Dream all of a sudden and like imagine all the clout I would get if from all the Dream fangirls, you know? But I continued on, and here are some pictures up on screen of the process of how I like drew and painted the face. I did not use a sealant until the end, and I know that's going to trigger some people, but you know, his face hasn't wiped off yet, and I'm okay with that. The next part was just me like trying to figure out a way to how to get those damn chops on his face because I was not about to root them, and so I settled on using Mod Podge and some flocking, if you know what that is. That's little pieces of material cut up really small to look like hair. And I also took the gloves that had been molded onto the doll that I was using and I painted them black instead of red because red just looked tacky, honestly. So that brings us into our next part of this video. Now, I am not lying when I say this is the most fun part about any custom. I'm a seamstress, I'm a designer, I am a very detail-oriented person, so when I get to add little details like this, it just makes my life. So, this was the most fun I had on this entire doll. I didn't really take a lot of pictures because I just get so into what I'm doing that I forget to take progress pictures, but I promise you I'll do my best to explain what all I've done. The first thing I did for accessories was go and think about all the little references I wanted to add because I love adding references and just little cheeky winks at things, you know. So in the picture on the left, you can see that is my index finger next to a tiny Wiimote and nunchuck. And that was the only picture I got before I painted the rest of the accessories. So on the right, the accessories painted are Baby Yuto, of course. I have a tablet, which later on I did add a little extra something to. The Wiimote and nunchuck, of course. The little gun, the Schloaf, which honestly, this whole project is shot to hell because nothing is gonna like compete with the Schloaf. It is the best thing I've ever created. And I did make a little head of my little logo, my little quarterly swine logo, because I thought that would be really cool. Instead of like signing the bottom of it like most artists, like I'll just add my own touch to it. So that's what I did. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention that the little coin we're zooming in on right now is between his fingers, kind of mocking Yutu's. So don't sue me, Yutu's. Awesome. The next thing I did was make shoes, and I made them out of hot glue because I had run out of other materials and I didn't want to go to the store. I didn't get any individual photos of them up close, but you can see them on all the other pictures. And then I made a tiny little Yankees cap, which almost made me vomit because I'm for a different team, but I held my breath through it, and I think it turned out really cute. There it is with the scale next to a pencil, so you can see how small it is. It's pretty cute, I think. Next, I made his clothes, which was just like a basic crew neck and some jogging pants, which that's kind of his style, so I thought it would go great. I took the shirt and I actually painted his little 2020 like merch logo on it. And then I took the pants and made a little verified symbol because, you know, it was basically sinful to make something without making a joke to him being verified, because every time you look at his mentions, it's like, you're not verified, buddy. You're not verified. So I had to go there. On the tablet, I ended up adding a little picture of his weekly slap profile picture because I thought it was cute, and we all really miss the weekly slap. Not gonna lie, we all miss it, but I hope it turned out really good. I think it did. I hope you like it. So yeah, that pretty much completes everything. The next thing you gotta do is just put it all together. I did go and buy a 45 vinyl from a thrift store because I needed a stand or something to put it on, and I kind of wanted to poke fun at his music taste. The vinyl actually has on one side like patriotic songs and the other side like Christian hymns, so it was perfect, and that's the stand I put it on. I'll put some pictures at the end of this video. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. You know, I don't know why you watched, but here you are. I've had a lot of fun, and if you have any suggestions of anything you want me to make, I'm always looking for something to do, so just hit me up, and you know the drill. Send me a DM. DM me.